Hi, welcome to Historic Eats, where I recreate recipes from the past and share the history of how the recipe came to be. Today, I'll be making for you Czech Kolache. These are delicately sweet, pillowy, soft rolls that are topped with sweet cream cheese topping or fruit topping. And they originated a few hundred years ago in Eastern Europe, and they are still as popular today as ever. And there's no wonder why. They are absolutely delicious. This channel is about sharing traditional recipes and demonstrating their original preparation and throwing in a little fun history of how the whole recipe came about. So click subscribe if you haven't already, and by all means I invite you to check out my channel and see some of the other recipes that I've already prepared. And please leave a comment and say hello. I would love to hear from you. Well, it's May and it's berry season, so the toppings that I'll be putting on my Czech Kolache today are strawberry, blueberry, and sweet cream cheese. And I'll have a total of 24 kolaches, and I'm going to just arrange them in the pan in a color order that kind of loosely resembles a flag. And that way it'll be something fun that I could share for 4th of July or even Labor Day. So let's go ahead and get started. To begin, to 1.5 tablespoons of yeast or 2 packets of yeast, add a half a cup of just warm water. And stir that gently to dissolve and set aside. In a microwave-safe dish, melt together a 1/4 cup of butter and a 1/4 cup of shortening. Okay, that took about 45 seconds on high in my microwave. Then you'll need 1.5 cups of milk, and you want to heat this to about 105 degrees. So just warm enough that you can still touch it like bath water, but not so hot that it would hurt to touch it. So in your stand mixer, you're going to combine that 1.5 cups of warm milk, the shortening and butter, and the water and yeast mixture. This recipe requires 6.5 cups of flour that will go in the dough, but to start with, we're just going to sift in 3 cups of flour to begin. And along with these dry ingredients, I also added 2 teaspoons of salt. So I moved my bowl over to my mixer fitted with the whisk attachment, and I'm going to blend this on medium-low for just a couple minutes. Now that that's blended, add 3/4 cup of evaporated milk. If you don't have evaporated milk, you can use regular whole milk. A half a cup of white sugar. And here I have 2 eggs plus 1 egg yolk. And I'm going to mix this with the whisk attachment for just another couple minutes. So now that that's well blended, I'm going to switch attachments to the dough hook. And now I'll sift in my final 3.5 cups of flour. Starting on low, I'm going to blend this on eventually medium speed for 2 minutes. So it's been 2 minutes. I'm just going to pull it down off the dough hook, And I'm just going to let it rest here in the bowl for 5 minutes, and then I'm going to blend it for just a couple minutes more. This will just give the gluten a little bit of time to relax. So just let it rest in the bowl 5 minutes. So it's rested 5 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and turn this back on onto medium-high speed and let it blend for 5 minutes. So that has mixed for 5 minutes, and I've prepared some plastic wrap that I sprayed with nonstick cooking spray. I'm just going to pull the dough off of the hook, and we'll cover it and let it raise for 1 hour. Okay, it's been 1 hour, so I'm going to just go ahead and punch this down. Look how much it's raising. It looks great. I'm going to cover it back up for 30 more minutes. And this is a good time to go ahead and get started on the filling. To begin my fruit toppings, I have 1 cup of fresh blueberries and I have 1 cup of sliced strawberries. And to each of those, I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of cornstarch, that's 2 whole tablespoons of sugar to each pan, 2 teaspoons of water, and then this is optional, but it just makes the fruit flavors brighter. I'm just squeezing a little bit of lemon juice from a fresh lemon into both of them. Now I'm going to cook the fruit and the added ingredients over medium-high heat, stirring occasionally for about 5 minutes. And I just want them to get thick and bubbly like a pie filling. For the cream cheese filling, I have 2 8-ounce bricks of cream cheese that are softened. To that, I'll add a 1/2 cup of white sugar, 1 egg yolk only, and a 1/4 teaspoon of vanilla extract. I'm just going to mix this with my hand mixer until it's all combined. Okay, back over here at the stove, these have been simmering. So once they came to a boil, I turned them down all the way to like number 2 on my stove. So on a very low heat, and I've been stirring them. And you can take like the back of a fork or even a potato masher and just break the fruit down a little bit more, because these are going into like tablespoon size portions on top of the cookie. So you want them kind of small. So now that they're softened, that's really easy to do. So just break them down, like I said, with a fork. And it's okay to have some chunks. And then I'm going to pull these off of the heat because it's been 5 minutes. Now to make our streusel topping, I have 4 tablespoons or a 1/2 stick of butter. To that I'm going to add 3/4 cup of white sugar, a 1/2 cup of flour, and just a pinch of vanilla. Like about 1/8 of a teaspoon. And then with a pastry blender, I'm just going to cut it together like I would a pie crust until it resembles big coarse crumbs. Okay, now that's all broken up. That looks great. I'll set that aside with the toppings. So it's been a 1/2 hour since I punched the dough down, so now I'm going to just heavily flour my surface, and we're going to get the dough divided up. I'm going to turn it out onto the surface here. punch it down a few more times. And I'm going to divide it into 24 equal sections. Those are all divided up, and I brought them together into a ball and put the little seams at the bottom. I have a regular baking sheet that I've lined with parchment paper, and now I'm just going to move them over to the pan. And I'm going to make like a flag design with the colors. So I'm doing them in rows of 6 by 4. This is a standard cookie sheet, so there's not much room between them, and they're going to get a little bit bigger. So once I have them all moved, I'm going to brush them with butter. This is about between 1 and 2 tablespoons of butter that I've melted, and I'm just going to brush the tops of all of these. Then these are going to rest again for 20 more minutes. Now I'm going to make a well into each of the kolaches, just kind of using the back of a tablespoon here for the filling to sit in. I'm going to begin by putting a teaspoon of the cream cheese filling into each of the little indentations. And you want to stay with teaspoon sizes because it will run out if you put too much in. So 1 teaspoon of the cream cheese in all of these. Okay, now that I have the cream cheese in all of them, I'm going to go ahead and put these here in the corner, these 6 in the corner with blueberry, because I'm making it into a flag pattern. And this is only about 1 to 2 teaspoons of blueberry topping. And after I put the cream cheese in them, I kind of pushed them down some more because they are still raising so fast. I'm trying to keep these little wells contained so it doesn't all bubble out when it's baking. Next, I'm going to do the strawberry for the red stripes. And for those that are the white stripes, I'm going to add an extra teaspoon of cream cheese. Okay, so all of our fruit toppings are on there, and now I'm just going to take our streusel toppings and generously sprinkle it all the way across each one of the kolaches. Okay, these are all ready to go. I'm going to pop them in the oven now. I'll check them in about 20 minutes. So they're going in at 350 degrees.
The name kolache can refer to more than one food application depending on where you're from. Pastry-style cookies folded around sweet fruit and cream cheese fillings are sometimes referred to as kolache or kalachi, but the Czech tradition claims the name kalachi refers to soft yeast rolls topped with sweet fruit jam. Although they look similar to Danish, kolache are their own recipe. Danish is made of layered and laminated pastry with a sweet center, while kolache are made from a yeasted dough enriched with eggs and butter, making them pillowy, voluminous, and soft. In the 15th century, the introduction of yeast bread enhanced with eggs, rich butter, and sugar gave way to the beginnings of Czech Kolache. Originally, the dough was shaped into a circle and served during special occasions and holidays. Its namesake comes from the Old Slavonic word kolo, meaning circle or wheel, and kole, meaning cake. They were popular throughout Eastern Europe, including Czechia, Slovakia, Poland, Hungary, and Croatia. Then by the 18th century, bakers began making a small indentation in the middle and adding sweet toppings like fruit jam. A wave of Czech immigrants settled in the U.S. in the mid-1800s. Many were political refugees fleeing the revolutions in Europe, while others were drawn to the U.S. by the prospect of farming and new economic opportunities. Some settled in the cool region of Appalachia, while others settled in the Midwest and Texas on the prairies and plains to farm. Tens of thousands entered the U.S. through the port of Galveston, Texas, which gave way to Texas becoming one of the largest Czech populations in the U.S. They were craftsmen and farmers, and they brought their heritage and their delicious cooking traditions with them. Their culture and traditions are still celebrated all over the U.S., including one of the largest, the Czech Polka Festival, or Westfest in Texas, which even features the Kolache 5K and kolache eating contests. Like other recipes on Historic Eats, kolache is a history-making delight whose original recipe and preparation are worthy of preserving and sharing.
Okay, 27 minutes later, and here they are. Look at those. They puffed up so much. They look absolutely delicious. They're just golden brown on the edges, and the streusel topping crisped up, and the colors really came to life when they baked. They smell heavenly. Well, I've got to try the blueberry. It's my favorite. They are so soft, and they're just mildly sweet, and the butter and the egg just give a really nice richness to the dough. And I would encourage you to make the fruit topping. It only takes 5 minutes, and it is so worth it. It's just so bright and fresh. Well, thank you so much for watching today. Like I said, head over to my channel, check out some of the other videos, leave a comment. I would love to hear from you. Thanks again for tuning in, and until next time, bye-bye.